Darkness enveloped Anna's world, a perpetual night that had become her reality. The low hum of machinery and the occasional drip of water echoed through the vast underground complex she called home. 25 years old, Anna had never seen the sky, never felt the warmth of sunlight on her skin. Her entire existence was confined to the steel and concrete walls of Bunker 7, one of the last bastions of humanity in a world ravaged by climate catastrophes. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting harsh shadows across the faces of the 300 souls who shared this subterranean refuge. Anna's footsteps echoed as she made her way through the narrow corridors, nodding to familiar faces. Each person bore the weight of their underground existence differently. Some, like old Mr. Thompson, still spoke of the world above with a gleam in their eyes. Others, born in the bunker like Anna, could only imagine what lay beyond their metal sky. As she reached the hydroponics bay, Anna paused to admire the lush green leaves of the vegetables growing under artificial light. This was their lifeline, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of near extinction. But was mere survival enough? The question gnawed at her daily. The communal dining area buzzed with muted conversations as Anna took her seat. She observed the tired faces around her, wondering if they too felt the crushing weight of isolation. How long could humanity endure in these underground tombs? What future awaited them if they ever emerged? Later, in the privacy of her small quarters, Anna pulled out her most prized possession, a faded photograph of a sunset, passed down from her grandmother. She traced the vibrant colors with her finger, trying to imagine the warmth of those rays. What would it feel like to stand under an open sky? To feel the wind on her face? As she lay in her bunk, staring at the cold metal ceiling, Anna's mind raced with questions. How many other bunkers existed? Were there others out there, looking up at their own metal skies, yearning for connection? The isolation felt suffocating at times, despite being surrounded by others. Was this all that remained of humanity, scattered pockets of survivors, each unaware of the other's existence? Sleep eluded her as she pondered the future. Would they ever see the surface again? And if they did, what would they find? A world healed and ready for rebirth, or a wasteland that would crush their hopes? The weight of these unknowns pressed down on Anna, as heavy as the earth above their bunker. In the artificial dawn of another day underground, Anna rose with a sense of purpose tinged with restlessness. There had to be more to life than this cycle of mere existence. As she prepared for her daily duties, a spark of determination ignited within her. Somehow, someway, she would find a way to reach beyond these walls. The world above might be gone, but surely, humanity's spirit of exploration and connection couldn't be extinguished so easily. Little did Anna know that her life, and the lives of everyone in Bunker 7, were about to change forever. The monotony of their underground existence was on the brink of a seismic shift, one that would challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in this new world. Anna's fingers traced the rough edges of the concrete wall, feeling the weight of history etched into its surface. 10 years ago, the world above had descended into chaos. Climate disasters, once distant threats, became relentless forces of destruction. Hurricanes ravaged coastlines, droughts turned fertile lands to dust, and rising seas swallowed entire cities. Humanity, in its desperation, retreated underground. The stories of that time were passed down like myths, each telling more horrific than the last. Anna's mother spoke of the mass migrations, millions fleeing uninhabitable zones. Her father recounted the frantic construction of the bunkers, a last-ditch effort to preserve some fragment of civilization. But for Anna, born in the sterile confines of Bunker 7, these tales might as well have been fiction. Resource management was a constant struggle. Every drop of water, every morsel of food, Every watt of electricity was meticulously rationed. Anna's daily routine revolved around maintaining this delicate balance. She monitored hydroponic systems, ensuring their precious crops thrived under artificial suns. But despite their best efforts, scarcity was an ever-present specter. The psychological toll of underground life weighed heavily on the bunker's inhabitants. Claustrophobia, depression, and a pervasive sense of loss plagued many. Anna observed the hollow-eyed stares of the elders, those who remembered the world above. How did they reconcile their memories of open skies with the oppressive ceilings that now bounded their existence? Education in the bunker was a mix of practical survival skills and fragmented knowledge of the old world. Anna hungered for more, devouring every book in their limited library. She learned of oceans and mountains, of bustling cities and vast wildernesses. But these were abstract concepts, as alien to her as the surface world itself. Communication with the outside world had been lost in the early days of the catastrophe. Isolation became their reality, a protective cocoon against the unknown horrors above. But for Anna, this isolation was increasingly suffocating. Were they truly the last remnants of humanity? Or were there others out there, surviving in their own underground havens? The biggest challenge wasn't just physical survival, but maintaining hope. What future could they aspire to in this metal-encased world? Anna grappled with this question daily, watching as some of her peers succumbed to a numbing acceptance of their fate. She refused to believe this was all that remained for humanity. As Anna completed her rounds in the life support sector, she overheard hushed conversations. Rumors of dwindling supplies, of systems on the verge of failure. How long could they sustain this artificial existence? The thought sent a chill down her spine. What would happen if their carefully balanced ecosystem collapsed? In quiet moments, Anna found herself drawn to the sealed main airlock. She placed her hand on its cold surface, imagining the world that lay beyond. Was the air still toxic? Had nature reclaimed the ruins of civilization? The uncertainty was both terrifying and oddly thrilling. That night, as the bunker's lights dimmed to simulate evening, Anna made a silent vow. She would find a way to bridge the gap between their underground refuge and the outside world. There had to be more than this, more than mere survival. Humanity's spirit of exploration and connection couldn't end here, buried under tons of earth and fear. Little did Anna know that her resolve was about to be tested in ways she could never have imagined. The past had shaped their present, but the future was still unwritten. And somewhere in the darkness of Bunker 7, a discovery awaited that would challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in this shattered world. Anna's heart raced as her fingers traced the outline of the hidden panel. She had stumbled upon it during a routine maintenance check in a seldom-used storage area. The dust-covered metal bore faded markings, hints of a purpose long forgotten. With a mix of trepidation and excitement, she applied pressure. A soft click echoed through the chamber. The panel slid open, revealing a complex network of tubes and mechanisms. Anna's eyes widened as realization dawned. This was no ordinary system, it was an antiquated pneumatic tube network, a relic from the early days of the bunker's construction. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could this be a link to the outside world? To other bunkers? Trembling with anticipation, Anna examined the system closer. Most of the tubes were rusted shut, victims of time and neglect. But one remained intact, its opening a tantalizing portal to the unknown. What secrets did it hold? Where did it lead? The questions burned in Anna's mind, demanding answers. Without hesitation, she penned a short message on a scrap of paper. Is anyone out there? Anna, Bunker 7. Her heart pounded as she inserted the message into a dusty carrier and sent it hurtling through the tube. The soft whoosh of its departure echoed her racing thoughts. Would it reach someone? Or was this a futile act of hope? Days passed with no response. Anna found herself returning to the pneumatic system repeatedly, checking for any sign of activity. Doubt began to creep in. Had she discovered nothing more than an obsolete piece of equipment? Was her hope misplaced? As disappointment threatened to overwhelm her, Anna made a decision. She would not give up. Even if no one responded, she would continue to send messages. Each one a beacon of hope cast into the darkness. Perhaps, someday, someone would answer. Her determination fueled a new purpose. Anna began to craft longer messages, pouring her heart onto paper. She described life in Bunker 7, shared stories passed down from the elders, and posed questions about the world beyond. With each message sent, a piece of her spirit traveled through those tubes, carrying dreams of connection and understanding. Word of Anna's discovery spread through the bunker. Some dismissed it as a waste of time and resources. Others were captivated by the possibility of contact with the outside world. Debates raged in the common areas. Was this a beacon of hope or a dangerous folly? Anna stood firm in her conviction. She argued passionately for the importance of reaching out, of maintaining the human drive to connect and explore. We can't just exist, she proclaimed to her fellow bunker dwellers. We must live, must strive for something more than mere survival. As weeks turned to months, Anna's efforts began to transform the bunker's atmosphere. People started to share their own messages, their hopes, and fears. The pneumatic tube became a repository of the community's collective dreams. Even those who had been skeptical found themselves drawn to the possibility it represented. Anna's persistence had ignited a spark of change. The once dull routines of bunker life were infused with a new energy. People began to look beyond the day-to-day struggles, to imagine a future beyond their underground confines. The very act of reaching out, even without response, had rekindled a sense of purpose. But the question remained, was anyone out there to receive their messages? As Anna sent another carrier whistling through the tubes, she couldn't help but wonder. What if they truly were alone? Or worse, what if someone was out there, but chose not to respond? The silence was both a torment and a challenge, pushing Anna to continue her quest for connection. Little did she know, her perseverance was about to be rewarded in a way she could never have imagined. The discovery of the pneumatic system was just the beginning. A response was coming, one that would shatter the isolation of Bunker 7 and open up a world of possibilities Anna had only dreamed of. Weeks turned into months, and still, no response came through the pneumatic tubes. Anna's initial excitement had given way to a grim determination. Each day, she faithfully sent out messages, her hope flickering like a candle in the wind. The once supportive murmurs of her fellow bunker residents had shifted to skeptical whispers and outright criticism. "You're wasting our resources," some argued. "Those tubes probably lead nowhere," others scoffed. The weight of their doubt pressed down on Anna, threatening to crush her resolve. But she refused to give up. There was too much at stake, not just the possibility of outside contact, but the very spirit of human perseverance. Anna's daily routine became a battle against despair. She'd wake before the artificial dawn, drafting new messages with trembling hands. Her words evolved from simple greetings to heartfelt pleas, philosophical musings, and detailed accounts of life in Bunker 7. Each message was a piece of her soul, cast into the void. The community's initial curiosity had soured into resentment. Anna found herself isolated, avoided in the narrow corridors. Even her closest friends began to distance themselves, worn down by what they saw as futile hope. In the communal dining area, conversations would hush as she approached, only to resume in hushed, critical tones as she passed. One particularly difficult day, Anna overheard two elders discussing her efforts. "Poor girl," one said, "she's lost touch with reality." The words stung, but they also ignited a fierce defiance within her. Reality? What was reality in this underground tomb? If sanity meant accepting this half-life without question, then perhaps madness was preferable. Anna threw herself into research, poring over old manuals and schematics. She traced the pneumatic system's pathways, trying to understand where the tubes might lead. Her quarters became a chaos of maps and theories, strings connecting points of possibility. Some nights, she'd fall asleep at her makeshift desk, dreaming of vast networks connecting underground havens. As supplies dwindled, pressure mounted to shut down the wasteful pneumatic project. Anna fought back, arguing passionately in community meetings. "We're not just preserving bodies," she pleaded, "we're keeping the human spirit alive. Hope is as essential as air." Her words resonated with some, but the tide of opinion was turning against her. In her darkest moments, doubt crept in. What if they were right? What if this was all for nothing? Anna would find herself staring at the sealed airlock, wondering what truly lay beyond. Had the world above healed, or was it still a toxic wasteland? Were there others out there, or was Bunker 7 truly humanity's last bastion? But always, Anna would shake off these thoughts and return to her mission. She began including seeds from their hydroponics bay in her messages, tiny emblems of life and renewal. Even if no one's there to receive them, she thought, perhaps someday they'll sprout, a testament to our existence. The constant resistance wore on Anna. Her once bright eyes gained a haunted look, and sleepless nights left dark circles beneath them. Yet still, she persisted. Each message sent was an act of defiance against the encroaching hopelessness that threatened to consume Bunker 7. As pressure mounted to dismantle the pneumatic system, Anna made a desperate gamble. She announced that she would send one final message, a comprehensive record of their bunker's history, scientific knowledge, and cultural heritage. "If we're truly alone," she declared, "let this be our legacy to the future." For weeks, Anna worked tirelessly, compiling the collective wisdom of Bunker 7. The project sparked a renewed interest in her efforts, as people contributed their knowledge and memories. It became a cathartic exercise for the community, a chance to reflect on their journey and their hopes for the future. On the day the final message was to be sent, the entire bunker gathered around the pneumatic terminal. Anna's hands shook as she placed the precious cargo into the carrier. As she prepared to send it off, a hush fell over the crowd. This was more than a message, it was a bottle cast into the cosmic ocean, carrying the essence of their humanity. With a deep breath, Anna activated the system. The carrier disappeared into the tube with a soft whoosh, carrying with it the dreams and fears of 300 souls. As the sound faded, a profound silence settled over the gathered crowd. What would come of this final act of reaching out? Little did they know, their persistence was about to be rewarded in a way none of them could have imagined. The response that would soon arrive would change everything, challenging their notions of isolation and reigniting the flame of hope in Bunker 7. The pneumatic tube system had lain dormant for so long that the sudden hiss of air startled Anna from her fitful sleep. Her heart raced as she scrambled to the terminal, scarcely daring to believe what she was hearing. The carrier arrived with a soft thud, and for a moment, Anna froze, her hand hovering over the container. Was this real, or just another cruel dream born of desperation? With trembling fingers, she opened the carrier. Inside lay a single sheet of paper, its edges worn and text slightly faded. Anna's eyes widened as she read the first line, "To the brave souls of Bunker 7, you are not alone." The words blurred as tears filled her eyes, a mix of relief, joy, and overwhelming emotion threatening to engulf her. The message was from Bunker 13, located over 100 miles away. They too had discovered an old pneumatic system and had been sending out messages for months. The coincidence of timing, the near miss of their communications, struck Anna with the force of revelation. How close they had come to never making contact. Anna's shout of triumph echoed through the corridors of Bunker 7, drawing a curious crowd. As she read the message aloud, the atmosphere in the room transformed. Skepticism gave way to wonder, then to unbridled joy. People wept, embraced, their faces alight with a hope many had thought long extinguished. The letter spoke of Bunker 13's experiences, so similar yet unique to their own. It told of their struggles and triumphs, of scientific breakthroughs and cultural preservation efforts. But most importantly, it spoke of other bunkers they had contacted, hinting at a vast network of survivors spanning the continent. As the news spread, Bunker 7 came alive in a way it hadn't for years. The dull routine of survival was infused with newfound purpose. People gathered in groups, excitedly discussing the implications of this contact. What knowledge could they share? What collaborations might be possible? The possibilities seemed endless. Anna found herself at the center of this whirlwind of activity. Once ostracized for her persistence, she was now hailed as a visionary. But the true reward for her was not the acclaim, but the rekindled light she saw in the eyes of her fellow residents. The pall of isolation that had hung over the bunker for so long was lifting, replaced by a cautious optimism. Crafting a response became a community effort. People from all sections of the bunker contributed, sharing their stories, their knowledge, their hopes for the future. Anna worked tirelessly to compile it all, her heart swelling with each new addition. This wasn't just a message, it was a declaration of their humanity, a bridge across the void that had separated them for so long. As Anna prepared to send their response, she paused, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the moment. This simple act of communication had transformed their world. It was more than just contact with another bunker. It was a reaffirmation of the human spirit's resilience, its unquenchable desire to connect and persevere. The whoosh of the carrier disappearing into the tube was met with cheers and applause. But even as they celebrated, new questions arose. What did this mean for their future? How would this connection change their lives? And what of the world above? Was it still as uninhabitable as they had believed? That night, as the bunker buzzed with excitement and speculation, Anna stood alone by the old airlock. She placed her hand on its cold surface, imagining the world beyond with new eyes. For the first time in years, the future didn't seem like a dark, unknowable void. Instead, it shimmered with possibility, with the promise of rediscovery and renewal. As she turned back to join the others, Anna realized that this was just the beginning. The silence had been broken, but the real journey, the reconnection of a fragmented humanity, was only just starting. With a deep breath and a determined smile, she stepped forward, ready to face whatever challenges and wonders this new chapter might bring. The discovery of Bunker 13 was just the beginning. As days turned into weeks, more messages arrived through the pneumatic system, each one a testament to humanity's resilience. Bunker 7 found itself at the heart of a growing network of underground communities, each with its own story of survival and adaptation. Anna threw herself into the role of chief communicator, working tirelessly to coordinate the flow of information. Her quarters became a makeshift command center, walls covered with maps charting the locations of other bunkers, strings connecting them in an intricate web of communication. The once silent tubes now hummed with constant activity, carrying not just messages but hope across vast distances. The exchange of knowledge sparked a renaissance within Bunker 7. Agricultural techniques from a bunker in the former Midwest revolutionized their hydroponics systems, increasing food yields by 30%. Medical breakthroughs shared by a bunker of doctors in what was once Canada saved lives and improved overall health. The community's scientists worked feverishly, combining their research with insights from other bunkers to push the boundaries of their underground existence. But it wasn't just practical knowledge that flowed through the pneumatic network. Art, music, and literature found new life as bunkers shared their cultural creations. Anna organized the first inter-bunker poetry reading, her voice shaking with emotion as she read verses penned by a poet hundreds of miles away. The event left many in tears, overwhelmed by this taste of a wider world they had thought lost forever. The children of Bunker 7, who had never known anything but the underground, were perhaps the most transformed. Their eyes shone with wonder as they learned of different bunker designs, of variations in culture and tradition that had evolved in isolation. They began to dream not just of survival, but of a future where they might see these marvels with their own eyes. As information about the outside world trickled in, a new debate arose within the bunker. Some of the data suggested that areas of the surface were becoming habitable again. Plants were reclaiming abandoned cities, and radiation levels were dropping in certain regions. The question on everyone's lips: was it time to consider venturing outside? Opinion was sharply divided. Some, like Anna, argued passionately for exploration. "We can't hide underground forever," she insisted during heated community meetings. "If there's a chance to reclaim the surface, we owe it to ourselves and future generations to take it." Others, traumatized by memories of the catastrophe that drove them underground, feared it was too soon, too dangerous. The debate raged for weeks, but ultimately, the spirit of exploration prevailed. A small team was assembled to make the first tentative journey to the surface. Anna, recognized for her role in re-establishing contact with the outside world, was chosen to lead the expedition. As preparations for the surface mission began, a palpable excitement filled the bunker. People who had long since resigned themselves to a life underground dared to imagine feeling the sun on their faces once more. The hydroponics bay buzzed with activity as they cultivated hardy plants for possible transplantation outside. Yet amidst the hope, there was fear. What would they find on the surface? Had nature truly begun to heal the scars left by humanity's past mistakes? And if the outside world was becoming habitable, what did that mean for their future? Would they abandon the bunkers that had been their homes for so long? As the day of the expedition approached, Anna found herself standing once again before the main airlock. This time, however, she wasn't alone. The entire community gathered, a mix of anticipation and apprehension on their faces. Anna's hand rested on the airlock's control panel, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She turned to address the crowd, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "For years, we've survived in darkness, keeping the flame of humanity alive. Now, it's time to step into the light. Whatever we find out there, we face it together, not just as Bunker 7, but as part of a greater human family." With a deep breath, Anna initiated the airlock sequence. As the massive door began to open for the first time in over a decade, sunlight, real, warm sunlight, spilled into the bunker. A collective gasp rose from the crowd. Tears streamed down weathered faces as the first breeze in years caressed their skin. Anna stepped forward, her heart pounding. The world beyond beckoned, full of unknowns but also brimming with possibility. This wasn't just an expedition, it was the first step towards reclaiming their place under the open sky. As she crossed the threshold, Anna knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, The reborn hope within Bunker 7 would light their way forward. The first steps onto the surface were tentative, filled with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Anna's eyes, accustomed to the artificial lighting of Bunker 7, squinted against the brilliance of true sunlight. The air, so different from the recycled atmosphere below, filled her lungs with a freshness that was almost overwhelming. Around her, the small expedition team stood in stunned silence, taking in the transformed world. Nature had reclaimed much of what humanity had abandoned. Crumbling structures were draped in vibrant greenery, trees sprouted from cracked pavement, and wildlife roamed freely through the remnants of the old world. The devastation they had expected was there, but so too were signs of remarkable resilience and rebirth. As they explored, the team collected samples, took readings, and documented everything they encountered. Each discovery brought new questions and possibilities. How had certain species adapted to the changed environment? Could these thriving plants offer clues for improving their own underground agriculture? The potential for learning seemed limitless. Back in Bunker 7, the community hung on every word of the expedition's reports. Screens displayed images of the surface, eliciting gasps of wonder and tears of joy. For many, it was their first glimpse of the world above in over a decade. For the younger generation, it was a revelation, proof that the stories of blue skies and open spaces weren't just myths. The success of the first expedition sparked a flurry of activity. Teams were assembled to focus on various aspects of surface exploration and potential resettlement. Scientists pored over the data, engineers began designing equipment for extended surface stays, and the hydroponics experts experimented with cultivating plants that could thrive in the new environment. Communication with other bunkers intensified. The news of successful surface exploration spread rapidly through the pneumatic network, inspiring others to venture out as well. A collaborative effort began to map the changed world, with each bunker sharing their findings and working together to piece together a broader picture of their new reality. Anna found herself at the forefront of these efforts, coordinating between the surface teams and the interbunker network. The shy, hopeful girl who had once sent messages into silence had blossomed into a confident leader, her persistence now vindicated beyond her wildest dreams. As more data came in, it became clear that while some areas remained dangerous, large swathes of the planet were becoming habitable again. The question was no longer if they would return to the surface, but how and when. Debates raged over the best approach: gradual transition or full resettlement. Should they maintain the bunkers as a safety net? How would they merge the various bunker communities into a cohesive society? Amidst these discussions, a profound shift occurred in the collective psyche of Bunker 7. The oppressive weight of mere survival lifted, replaced by a sense of purpose and possibility. People walked taller, smiled more readily. The arts flourished as inspiration flowed from the rediscovery of the natural world. Children played games imagining life under open skies, their laughter echoing through corridors that had once known only hushed whispers. Yet, challenges remained. The surface world, while healing, was still a far cry from the one their ancestors had known. They would need to adapt, to learn how to live in harmony with this changed earth. The lessons learned underground, of resource management, community cooperation, and resilience, would be crucial in the years to come. As plans for the future took shape, Anna often found herself returning to the old pneumatic terminal where it had all begun. Running her hand along the tubes that had carried hope through the darkness, she reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From isolation to connection, from despair to renewed purpose, they had come so far. On the eve of the first permanent resettlement mission, Anna addressed the gathered community of Bunker 7. "We stand at the threshold of a new chapter in human history," she began, her voice steady and clear. Our time underground preserved more than just our lives, it preserved the best of what humanity can be. As we step into this new world, we carry with us the lessons of cooperation, resourcefulness, and hope that sustained us through the darkest times. She paused, looking out at the faces before her, faces that now shone with anticipation rather than resignation. The road ahead will not be easy, she continued. We face a world transformed, one that will challenge us in ways we cannot yet imagine. But we face it together, not just as the people of Bunker 7, but as part of a greater human family spread across this reborn Earth. As her words rang out, a sense of unity and purpose filled the room. They were no longer just survivors, they were pioneers, ready to forge a new path for humanity. The darkness of the past was giving way to the dawn of a new era, one filled with challenges, yes, but also with boundless possibility. Anna's final words resonated with the promise of the future they were stepping into. Yesterday, we kept the flame of humanity alive. Today, we carry that flame back into the light. Tomorrow, together, we will build a world worthy of the hope that sustained us through our darkest hours. As the cheers erupted around her, Anna knew that this was not an end, but a beginning. The story of humanity's resilience, of hope persisting against all odds, would continue to unfold in ways they could scarcely imagine. And they would face it as they had faced every challenge before, together, with courage, creativity, and an unwavering belief in the power of human connection.